Hi guys, it's album review time. We've got H.E.A.T and Welcome to the Future. Well, a very apt title, I believe, Welcome to the Future. If it's as bright as this, if it's as good as this, musically, we're in for a ride. We really are. H.E.A.T are one of the best bands out there, one of my favourite bands. And right from the off, let me tell you, this album may be the best H.E.A.T album. And that's saying something. They are one brilliant band. I absolutely love them. And this album literally cements them into one of my favourite bands. If there was any doubt, and it probably wasn't, this album, they've matured. They're getting a bit older now, and you know they are a new band. As far as when people like me talk, you always think H.E.A.T are a new band. They've been going a while. They really have, and I think they're just, you can just feel the progression for this band as they went on, and now they're just at their peak, I think. This is being released on EA Music on April the 25th, and thanks so much for, you know, getting this early and listening to this. And I have literally been listening to this non-stop, this album. It's the 8th studio album, so that just shows you, doesn't it, you know, how long this band have been going. It's quite a surprise when I thought, yeah, it's the 8th one. 12 tracks to talk about. Now, Kenny now has been on as many albums as Eric Rommel was on, so half and half. So that's an interesting thing as well. So when you look at the past catalogue of H.E.A.T, they've definitely ventured occasionally into sort of different territory, especially with Freedom Rock. I think it was more like a straightforward rock album, in my opinion, rather than the debut that was pure AOR. And then, of course, with The Great Unknown with Eric, sort of venturing into pop, a lot of synth work on there, although there's some rocking tracks as well. And you know, both of those albums have become sort of a lot of people's fan favourites. But I think for me, this is how I want them: just a pure melodic hard rock band, anthemic, you know, stadium filling band, and that's exactly how I want to hear H.E.A.T. I love those albums, by the way. I still thought they was great. But I think H.E.A.T are at their peak, if you like, and at their best when they're delivering stadium rock, which this album really does. And when Eric left, I've spoken about it before, I was very sceptical. I was one of quite a few people that are sceptical. But there was a lot of people saying, no, Kenny's the man. And I was like, okay. All right, let's just, the proof's in the pudding, isn't it, when he comes back. And for me, it wasn't about, nothing ever about Kenny's voice. It was more about the songwriting and how far they had come. You know, because they always progressed, in my opinion, you know, as the albums went on. And that was what I was worried about. But I thought they might go back a little bit. And like I said, even though I've got no problem with the first couple of albums, I preferred them in that real energetic, stadium filling hard rock that they had sort of, you know, produced since, especially since Eric came in the band. They sort of went to another level. But man, I had no worries. I should have had no worries at all. I mean, as soon as I heard Kenny singing on Force Majeure, arguably the best album up to that point, they just took it to another level, and I was like, man, yeah, Kenny's the man. He really is. And everything that I loved about the last album is here, but even more. This is a real progression again from Force Majeure to Welcome to the Future. It's, man, it'll blow all you H.E.A.T fans away. I've listened to the album, a few times, like I said, and there's no fault in the album. I listened to it from front to back. And I've probably listened to it 5 or 6 times now. I've never felt the urge to think, oh yeah, let's get to the next track. It's, from beginning to end, it's amazing. It is really top-notch stuff. 12 tracks of pure perfection from start to finish. Heavy at times, always melodic, of course, because it's H.E.A.T, technically just brilliant. I want to talk about the production, the mix on this. I believe Jonah T's doing it again. I couldn't find nothing to, cement that. I've looked at a few things to find out if Jonah's still producing. It sounds very similar to Force Majeure, that sort of warmth-rich sort of production that Jonah perfected on Force Majeure. I thought it was a massive step up from the production on H.E.A.T as well. I think H.E.A.T had a great sound, but the progression to Force Majeure had this, like they said, this warmth that's running through the production, and it's a bit heavier, and I think they've just captured that perfectly. It's even like a step up on mix and production as well. So brilliant. Jonah T's production is massive. It really is. So let's run through the people in the band. Of course, I've spoken about Kenny already. Just the tone, the warmth of his vocals, and he can hit the heights as well. He is the perfect vocalist. I was thinking, when, like I said, when Eric left, I was like, no, man, Eric can't leave. It's just going to change everything. Now Kenny's in the band. I definitely feel that way now. I thought if Kenny ever left, I'd be like, man, this is Kenny. Kenny needs to be in this band. This H.E.A.T is Kenny Lacremo as well as all the other guys in the band. I'm not saying he'd ever leave, but man, I'd be gutted if he did. I think he's just a perfect fit now for this band. And then you got Jonah T on keys. What an amazing musician, songwriter, producer this guy is. He's the backbone of this band. Well, another guy, you couldn't lose Jonah T out of H.E.A.T, could you? It probably wouldn't be H.E.A.T anymore. An amazing talent we've got, on our hands. Then you've got Dave DeLone on guitar. Of course, this is following on, like I said, from Force Majeure. There's plenty of this guitar all over it. It's cool with H.E.A.T because they almost run keys alongside of guitar. They're very upfront, but never forsaking any. The guitar's always heavy. The keys are nice in the mix as well. There's loads of great guitar work across this album. Solos coming out of your ear holes. You have enough to satisfy any guitar nut. It's a brilliant guitar album. And then you've got Jimmy J on bass and Don Crash on the drums. Rhythm sections just, man, these guys have been together a little while now, so the rhythm section's so tight. There's some real stomping tracks on here as well, so you get this stomping feel across a lot of these songs. Galloping, stomping, always melodic, and like I said, so anthemic. So I'm going to talk about my favourite tracks. You know what, I could talk about 12 tracks here easily, and when you're battling to talk about your favourite tracks because they're all so good, that's a good sign. But I could talk about my favourite tracks. So we kick off the album with Disaster, the first single. Probably the best opening track for me since probably Breaking the Silence on Address the Nation. Just hits you full throttle after a lot of little synth melody playing the chorus hook. It blasts into like a frenetic rocking opener, a definite crowd pleaser. Surely, a staple in the live set, I would say. The energy is just ramped up to 10, and that's what I've always loved about H.E.A.T. So energetic all the time. Their perfect mix of melody and pure hard rock is just so addictive, and it is on this track. Anthemic, which I'm going to say a lot. Hard hitting, the absolute perfect opener. The first of many sort of brilliant solos. If I talked about every solo that was good across this album from Dave DeLone, every song I would just say is brilliant. The first part of this solo is sort of technically brilliant, and then the second is like a hummable melody. Just how solos used to be written, memorable, almost another song. Do you know what I mean? Almost something that you would sing. Brilliant stuff. And then we go on to the second song and the second single, Bad Time for Love. Man, what a song. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, the second single stomps its way to a chorus that is just huge. It's like a peak Europe, this band, mixed with a sort of peak era Bon Jovi. This band, H.E.A.T, I know they haven't been going that long, but after 50 years in total of like melodic rock since the early 80s, it's still as fresh and exciting as any band would like to write a song. They would kill to have this in their catalogue, any band. Amazing stuff. Call My Name is the next track I want to talk about now. Man, don't let this put you off. because this is probably my favourite track on the album, but somehow this brilliant band pulled this off. It's a song that sort of mixes ABBA style disco with melodic rock and make it one of their best songs. It's just brilliant. I don't know if it's just me hearing that, but I can definitely hear that in this song. Guitars like gallop, vocals soar, and you are left with such an interesting and irresistible song. When it gets to this song, when I'm listening to the album, I'm like, man, I can't wait for this song. One of my faves on this brilliant album. In Disguise is the next song I want to talk about. We get a cool sort of epic sounding track that has hints of H.E.A.T's project New Horizon. There's a couple of songs that sort of have those little hints of that project. Slight sort of symphonic elements, you know, with the keys run through it. Otherwise, it's a cool hard rock track. Kenny bringing some aggression into his soulful vocals. Amazing stuff. Then I want to talk about The End. What a song this is, man. We get familiar heat here, which is what it's familiar. All of it is familiar, which is what I want, which is always a good thing. But we get to a chorus sort of reminds me of Toto a little bit, the Hold the Line type piano melody. More sort of galloping guitars beef up the brilliant verses between the catchy choruses. It's a band that's not afraid to like experiment, but they always remain in this sort of melodic hard rock guise. It makes them one of the best out there. Then I want to talk about Rock Bottom. The band sort of heading to sort of slight blues territory here, as the song gives you more groove than you could ever wish for. Really stomping song again. Kenny giving his all while the band sound like, you know, when a band sounds like they're having so much fun on a record. That's what they sound like here. So the chorus has a bit of that rock body vibe from H.E.A.T 2. They're totally on fire with this song. And then I want to move on to the last track I want to talk about is another galloping European hard rock track. It's Paradise Lost. It's a track with those sort of, again, slight New Horizon feels. It's an epic song that sees the band pull out all the stops. H.E.A.T's synth work is all over this with some 80s style tinkering as well, apart from that sort of European feel with the keys as well. We've got that tinkering sort of American hard rock with it as well. Epic sort of power metal type melodies as well running through it. Huge, epic, brilliant. So that's it, guys. Remember, this album's coming out on April the 25th. I know it's on a lot of people's radar. I'm sure with the singles that have been released already, you're really excited to hear it, and you know you will not be disappointed whatsoever. This is an amazing album. I think they're at their peak now. Such a great listen. It's one of them albums. It finishes, you want to make it, you know, you want to put it back to track one. It just flies by. H.E.A.T, welcome to the future. Tell me, guys, if you're going to get it in the comments below, and I'll see you soon.